we're going to talk about swimming pools. But before we start, and Preston, before we kind of get into that a little bit, I think one of the things that I always like to do and have been doing lately is when we're done talking about swimming pools, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your industry.
Okay,
and
sure.
when people look at a home inspector, some of the very common things that they should be asking
Okay, sure.
their
sure.
home inspector. I mean, I think it's like anything. I know as a realtor, I'm interviewed on an ongoing basis.
Sure.
And to me, I'm not being interviewed for a job. I'm being interviewed for a partnership
Right, right.
with that homeowner in order to sell the largest asset they have.
Sure, sure.
So, I think it's important to look at it that way. But some interesting facts about realtors. According to the National Association of Realtors, the typical realtor has been in the real estate business for approximately 7 years. I've been in it way longer than that.
Is that doggy years or is
that would be kind of like Charlotte right now. 1 in 5 realtors right now have less than 1 year of experience.
Wow, really?
So 20% of the realtors out there right now are what we call provisional brokers, or they call them PBs, or we call them peanut butters. They've had less than 1 year, and in a very tight market like this, what I always say is if you are going to do business with a new realtor, the question you need to ask them is this: do they have a mentor?
Sure.
Do they have someone alongside them that can help coach them through a situation?
Right.
For the
right.
veterans like you in your business, Preston, and Carrie, you've been staging a long time, so I'm not saying you're a veteran, but you kind of are, because you've been married to me, and you do have battle scars. The opportunity when you come across a situation to ask somebody who's already been through it, and I'm not suggesting you do it on Facebook. I'm suggesting you do it with someone that is successful in the business, that's been through some ups and downs, and at least had that 7 years of average of business, or like in my case, many more. So I think what I encourage new realtors out there who are listening, or if you have a new realtor that's working with you, as you get into a relationship with them and they're enthusiastic, which you love, which I love,
Right.
and they're coming to your home with a lot of zest, make sure they've got a mentor, someone that's there that they can ask questions to. That's one of the benefits of a team.
Yeah.
When you're in a team scenario, you have other people within the organization that have different skill sets that you can pull upon. All right? The second thing is, according to the National Association of Realtors, 23% of realtors work on a part-time basis.
Really?
Ding!
Wow.
Do you hear that ding? How perfectly that was done? Okay, so you got the answer right. So one of the things to think about is that agent that you're working with, is this how they feed their family?
Yeah.
Again, I was talking to Robert. See, Robert and Kim this morning, and I'm going to leave that on because I just think that's fun. Robert and Kim this morning, their daughter is getting into real estate, and they said, well, she's kind of looking for a job, and she's also wants to be in real estate. And what I always tell young agents is, certainly financially, you have to do what's best for you and
Sure.
work through that scenario. But it's another thing to be half pregnant.
Yeah.
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 So when you're in a business and when you're doing this for a living, you can't be half pregnant.
Right.
You really have to put yourself into the business from a learning perspective, a training perspective. You're going to make some mistakes along the way, perspective, if that is such a thing, as well as, your home inspectors, Preston. If you had guys that, just moonlighted in home inspection, how sharp do you think their saw would be on an ongoing
It'd be a
basis?
dull saw, and also time is of the essence in this business. I mean,
Yeah.
you're answering calls, and I mean, you and I were talking the other evening at 7 o'clock. I mean,
That's right.
we
We
can't
were.
do that if you're working another full-time job. I mean, this is our full-time job. I
That's
just
right.
can't imagine that in real estate, anything to do with real estate being a part-time job. It's a full-time gig. It is a
Yeah.
full-time gig.
Yeah, I got an email from a friend of mine this morning, and he said, I know, I'm not sure whether you work on Saturdays or not, and I just kind of laughed. So I was like, well, yep, I sure do.
Saturdays, Memorial Day, every day you can imagine.
Yeah, so